Photographers have been able to make large pictures in great numbers for little more than 100 years. Most early photographs were small, one-of-a-kind images on metal or glass. But the development of the glass plate negative permitted photographers to make countless prints on paper. The first books describing this process were published in the 1850s. We've computerized the woodcut illustrations from several of these early books to explain the process in simple terms. The would-be photographer was instructed to secure a flawless piece of glass and clean it thoroughly. This was coated with collodion, a gelatin-like base for the other chemicals in the process. When the collodion became sticky or tacky, the plate was dipped into a bath of silver nitrate. Now it was sensitive to light and had to be put in a plate holder that was light-tight. The plate holder fit into the back of the camera. A panel or dark slide uncovered the plate, which was exposed to light when the photographer removed the lens cap. The exposure could vary from a few seconds to an hour or more. Once exposed, the plate had to be developed before the collodion dried, which is why this was called wet plate photography. After the image appeared, the plate was washed, fixed, washed again, and varnished to protect it. The image on the glass plate was a negative of the original scene. Shadows appeared light, and light areas, like the sky, appeared dark. To make a print, the photographer put the negative into a wooden frame, slipped a piece of light-sensitive paper in behind it, and closed the frame. The papers used to make photographs in the 19th century developed in sunlight, without chemical baths. As you can see, the print was the same size as the negative. If you see an 18 by 22-inch photograph from this period, you can assume it was made from an 18 by 22-inch glass plate. In a well-equipped darkroom, this process was demanding. In the field, it was a Herculean task. Here's an example. The Viscata, a British grain ship, ran aground just outside San Francisco Harbor in March 1868. Carleton Watkins photographed the wreck, no doubt hoping to sell the prints. Of course, he saw the scene in color. We can only approximate the true values. Watkins drove to the site in an open wagon loaded with his equipment. He set up a small tent for his darkroom and dispatched an assistant with a stereo camera to a point where he could make a dramatic 3D picture of the wreck. Then Watkins carried his large plate camera to higher ground and set it up. Remember that the camera lens inverts the image inside the camera. Once he had focused and framed the view, Watkins returned to his tent to prepare a plate, a large one, almost 2 feet square. Inside the tent, Watkins had to coat the plate and sensitize it, just as we've shown, and put it in a plate holder. Then he carried the plate holder back to the camera, pulled out the dark slide, and uncovered the lens to make the exposure. Before the plate could dry, he had to take it back to the tent and develop it. The entire process could have taken more than an hour after he reached the site. But with this negative, he could make any number of prints, which he could display for sale in his studio. The equipment for wet plate photography was heavy and cumbersome. Getting water in the field was always a problem. The glass plates broke easily, destroying weeks of work. But in the hands of dedicated photographers, the process produced pictures of timeless quality.